Hey everyone, this is Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology. Happy Monday, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at all of the major astrological transits for this last week of the year. We're going to be taking a look at Jupiter square to Saturn, which is happening just after Christmas. We're also going to be looking at Mercury opposing Jupiter one final time. Remember that Mercury has gone through this opposition to Jupiter several times because of its retrograde. So it's a very interesting dynamic given that the two planets are in each other's signs. So mutual reception between the two planets, but by opposition and detriment. We're going to look at that. Also, Venus is squaring Uranus by the end of this week. It's a sparkly and interesting transit that we will take a look at, and lots of good stuff to come this week as well. I made kind of a special episode that I put a lot of heart into for Christmas Day. If you're celebrating, I hope that that'll be adding something of upliftment and value to that day. But yeah, we'll take a look at the astrology for the week ahead today. Before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. It really helps our channel to grow. Share your comments. We love hearing from you all. And you can find transcripts of any of these daily talks on the website, which is nightlightastrology.com. Now, we are with just 8 days left to go in our annual Kickstarter campaign. As the time of my recording, we have accumulated over 700 backers. But that still means that we need over 1,200 left to go in just 8 days. So I'm sounding the alarm a little bit right now because we need a whole ton of backers to reach our goal in just 8 more days. And a big thank you to everybody who's already donated. Every donation helps. $5, $10, $1. Every donation helps because we have two different goals. We have a backer total goal and we have a financial goal. And we know that we're going to hit our financial goal. We're very confident we will if we land in that backer number total. So anyway, on that note, at the end of today's talk, after you sign off, you can hear about all the rewards that we offer, including our biggest sales on all of our training programs. We have 4 years worth of curriculum in ancient Hellenistic astrology and modern archetypal psychological astrology. It's a fusion. All of our programs include a little bit of both. So you can learn more about our programs at the end of today's talk. I'll tell you about them and how you can donate and pick up classes at the best deals, 50% off, all the way up to 75% off when you bundle them together. That sale through the Kickstarter, we only run once per year, so it's a special deal on that note. There's also a lot of other rewards that you may find interesting, including some exclusive content, your horoscopes for the year ahead, 45 minutes for each sign. So lots of good stuff. I'm going to take you over to the Kickstarter website. You can find the link to the Kickstarter in the comments section, pinned to the top of today's episode. You can also find it in the description of the video and on the website, nightlightastrology.com. Where you can click on the 2025 Kickstarter link. Here's the place where you can pledge. And then the rewards are on the right-hand side. When you scroll down, you can pick different rewards. The Astrology of 2025, my new book that's coming out, being released chapter by chapter in audio and text form, year ahead horoscope readings for all 12 signs. It's almost 10 hours worth of content on all rising signs. It's like a very lengthy version of a horoscope video, but for the entire year ahead for all 12 signs. So anyway, lots of good stuff to pick up. Previous master classes, our next year's master class, our Roots and Spheres class, all of our programs on sale. If you value this content and if this is a place that you come for daily spiritual and astrological learning and nourishment, then please consider donating to support us. We do need a huge amount of support with just a little bit of time left. So like I said, with about 8 days left to go, we still need about 1,200 backers. Now, it sounds like a lot, but I believe we can get there. I really believe that there's still enough time to meet our goal this year. So on that note, I hope you will enjoy today's content on the astrology for this week ahead. I will also be doing a live stream on Friday of this week. If you want to join me live for Q&A and birth chart readings, I'll be banging the drum, trying to rally last minute support for the Kickstarter. And I may spontaneously come on to do more if we need to, if we need to kind of raise the alarm and get people to donate. I might come on a few more times, who knows? But for sure, Friday morning, I'll be there. So if you can make it out to that, I hope to see you. And otherwise, I hope you're going to have a great week and that you'll enjoy this coverage of the astrology for the week ahead. Bye. All right, let's get into it. We're looking at the astrology for the week ahead. There are a number of transits coming up this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them out in order and briefly talk about the timeline for each one of them. And then I will return and reflect on each one of them. And remember, as the week goes on, we'll be opening an exploration of these transits individually. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to this week for sure. It's a big week of the astrological year with the Jupiter-Saturn square perfecting, of course, being that's like the big news, but also a couple of other aspects that we're going to watch for. So All right, let's go through it one at a time here. All right, so we're looking at Monday, December 23rd through Sunday, December 29th, and the week starts off with Jupiter squaring Saturn. Now, we've talked at length on this channel about the meaning of Jupiter-Saturn squares. We've looked at old cycles. There's a lot here, and I'm going to reiterate some of the main things for your consideration, and then we'll be looking at this more tomorrow for sure on the actual day of the perfection. But here's Jupiter in Gemini making the square to Saturn. This is something that's already been in effect. It is not the easiest transit to identify because of what a process-oriented transit it is. And so I've done a lot to try and illuminate the meaning of a Jupiter-Saturn square and the kinds of things it does in our lives over long periods of time. Because remember, this square is going to come back next June and has already happened this previous August of 2024. So an ongoing transit that we will be looking at. But if we just unpack this for this week, today into tomorrow, it perfects. And then for the rest of the week, we're looking at a square that is, within a degree. So the rest of the week is certainly continuing on the theme of these two planets being in their square. Now, they start to gain that 3 degrees of separation right by about January 10th. So all the way up until January 10th, we're very much in the midst of the Jupiter-Saturn square. And we already have been for several weeks right now. So just remember that this transit has a long, slow way of developing. And if we take this forward some months all the way into June of next year, 2026, we're going to see that at the very middle part of June right here, Jupiter enters Cancer, and as soon as it does, is moving into the square with Saturn in Aries. Well, that's the final square that comes through in the summer of 2025, or I guess that would be with the winter if you're in the southern hemisphere. So we're going to look at that both today and tomorrow. That's the first major transit of the week, one of the biggest transits of the year, happening right around the holiday of Christmas here. So an interesting one. Now, let's bring it back to, here we go. All right. Starting on the 26th, that's Thursday of this week, Mercury will be in the exact opposition to Jupiter. And we've talked about this one a number of times already because Mercury went through this in direct motion, then retrograde motion, and now again in direct motion. The exchange between these two planets is a mutual reception kind of exchange. They're in each other's signs, but they're opposed and they're in their detriments. So a very interesting kind of exchange between Mercury and Jupiter depicted this week, the day after Christmas on the 26th. You'll be feeling that this week for sure if we back this up again and just look at the timeline. You'll see, let's see here, go back. Here's, today, Monday, December 23rd, you can see that Mercury is just 3.5 degrees or so away from the opposition. So in the engagement range to start the week. And then if we move on and get to about 4 degrees of separation by the 29th of the month, that's Sunday. So this whole week is really going to be an experience of Mercury's opposition to Jupiter. That dynamic is one that we will also be exploring, and we've already explored it a number of times on my channel because this is the third time we're seeing this transit come through because of Mercury's retrograde. So that one, also a big transit of the week, really pinging off from the Jupiter-Saturn square as well. That Mercury-Jupiter square is going to involve Mercury with Saturn. So if we take this to the 27th, that's Friday, after the opposition between Mercury and Jupiter is complete, Mercury will go through the square to Saturn in Pisces. Now, Mercury is in the superior position, and so I don't anticipate this being like a super bummer of a Mercury transit. I think that Mercury will be in that overcoming position, able to work around or deal with the impediments of Saturn. We'll talk about that today a little bit too, and then later in the week. And then finally, on the 28th, it's a kind of a strange ending to the week. On Saturday, fascinating, we have Venus squaring Uranus. So Venus in Aquarius will go through the square to Uranus and Taurus. This will happen Saturday, December 28th. If we back this one up just a little bit, you'll see that the exact square is coming through Friday. And so if we just give this like that kind of 3-degree range, you should be noticing this between Tuesday of this week, right around Tuesday. Yeah, but Tuesday all the way through, and then we give it, maybe 3 degrees of separation all the way through Monday of next week. So you got about a full week of Venus being in a square to Uranus. And, that's an exciting transit. But a quirky one, given the mutable T-square going on with Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter. It's really interesting to see that one sort of in the mix. Like it's a weird punctuation mark in a sentence. I don't know. Maybe it's like, how we've come up with our own punctuation in text messages. Maybe that Venus Uranus dynamic is like the question mark exclamation point that we put together a lot these days. Well, what? Really? Maybe. So we'll see how that goes. But now what I want to do is I want to roll through each of these and say a few things about them now that we've laid out the timeline. First of all, Jupiter-Saturn square. What I want everybody to think about is the fact that Saturn is about things that reach their expiration date, things that find their natural limit. And also the tension between something reaching its limit and the sense of there being something beyond the limit or something alternative to what has been established in the past. Because Saturn is a planet that is associated with the opposition, the aspect, there is a way in which Saturn will bring up tensions between two things, the new and the old, life versus death, etc. And the reaching of a limit at the threshold, or Saturn being a planet of thresholds, and reaching and defining limits, as well as crossing over limits into something new or other or beyond. For example, Saturn can easily be associated with those people who are marginalized and those people who are the in crowd or the normalcy or something like that. But Saturn can also represent conventionality and people who are unconventional, as in punk rockers, as opposed to, like straight-laced people. So that kind of dichotomy that Saturn brings up, that tension that Saturn brings up, is being applied to Jupiter. Well, what is Jupiter? Well, broadly speaking, Jupiter will be our sense of coherency. Like, well, the universe makes sense to me. I have beliefs, I have a moral compass, I have a sense of what is true. But apply that to any specific area of life. If it's in your 7th house, it may be your sense of how things work or operate, or coherency with respect to love and relationships. So Jupiter in its place in our charts right now in the sign of Gemini, for example, in that whole sign house, could be bringing up a kind of transitional space. This is how things have been. This has been the established order. Jupiter is a planet of order far more than Saturn in ancient astrology. But when an order of any kind, a belief system, a structure, an organization that ideally is supposed to create unity and coherence, reaches its limit, reaches a threshold, is ready to be transformed somehow, we are at a philosophical crossroads, a challenge of our faith, a remaking of some kind of larger system or paradigm. It speaks to the natural development of our wisdom and understanding. So these thresholds are really interesting. They can mark shifts in eras in our lives, which are subtle and take like a year, right? Which is why we have several of these passes, slow-moving planets demarcating changes and reaching the limits of something and then crossing over into a new era as we've reached the limit of something, or learning how to hold different kinds of tensions, the tensions of opposites that come up and that force us to reconsider or revise paradigms and structures of all kinds. So this is in the air right now. I find that, if it were Venus square to Uranus later this week, you'll notice it more acutely because of how fast moving it is and how expressive it is so quickly. But when slower outer planets like this are, dancing together over the course of a full year, you're really talking about a slow, gradual paradigmatic shift. Well, we're right in the midst of a very powerful moment of such shifting right now, but it may be hard to see it or identify it. we're going to talk more about that tomorrow. So Jupiter square Saturn, big one this week, right? Now, Mercury opposite Jupiter is fascinating because it's participating so dynamically, so closely with the Jupiter-Saturn square. This means that some kind of transaction, some kind of resolution of conflict, differences of ideas, values, and opinions, agreements, contracts, negotiations of differing perspectives or stances or something like that is taking place. When two planets are in each other's signs, they work together, but they're also opposed to one another and in their detriment. So it's two people who need to work together somehow, or it's making something good out of something difficult, or it's walking a mile in someone else's shoes, or it's considering something from a perspective opposite to the one that you usually take. There is some kind of shifting of perspective and a dialectical tension that's in the air that can be very beneficial, but may require some, reluctance to compromise. But if you're able to find a balance or some kind of negotiation right now, the idea is that this kind of exchange that's happening may in fact be crucial to that overall paradigmatic shift that's taking place. So very interesting, fast-moving transit that suggests an exchange of things that are opposite to each other. And from there's chance for some greater paradigms or structures to shift or be revised in a deeper way. We'll talk more about that too. That's one of my favorite transits of the year because it's so interesting and it's just participating in such a unique way in the Jupiter-Saturn square. All right, well then on December 27th, Mercury squares Saturn and hits off the other side of the Jupiter-Saturn square, in which case I feel like we're working around and through different kinds of boundaries and thresholds. Mercury and Saturn were both described by some ancient astrologers as being neuter, which means they have the capacity to move fluidly across thresholds and boundaries. Well, isn't that interesting, since we always think of Saturn only as limits, but not as the conversation of two things across opposite sides of a boundary. That is very much what Saturn represented, which is why Saturn ruled the opposition. Not surprisingly, it was good friends with Hermes, Mercury in ancient astrology, Saturn was. And so both have this ability to be fluid. When Mercury's in the superior position over Saturn in a double-bodied water sign, I think what we're looking at is moving fluidly around and with an evolving situation. It's one way of thinking about it. We're going to visit that one later in the week again, too. And then finally, December 28th, at the end of the week, as I said, this will be building as the week goes on, Venus squares Uranus. We'll have some dedicated time for this one, too. What I love about this transit is we have very clearly, we have a transit that is provocative, artistic, creative, sensual, flashy. It evokes the creative power of the feminine and of the good fortune that comes randomly and suddenly and is not what we expected. Also, the disruptions to Venusian things like love, relationship, sensuality, and beauty through things that are provocative or erratic or, again, maybe disruptive, something unexpected. So Venus hitting into a square with Uranus this week, I'm not as worried about it because remember, Uranus is in Venus's sign in Taurus. So there is something that Uranus and Taurus is doing with Venus that is not totally outside of the scope of what Venus is all about. There's some kind of evolution or revolution of Venusian things coming, and that's very, I think, a good Venus square to Saturn. I think, for example, a Venus square Saturn, I said this last year when the two planets got into this square, it reminds me of like a med spa. You know, Venus in Aquarius is new age technology for, you know, it's the peptides you take for your skin or the collagen supplements, or it's the, it's all the things you can do, PRP and, you know, all the things. And there's also something about, you know, living forever and youthfulness and beauty that there might be a little of a shadow there. But Venus square Uranus is also in these two signs, I think, about something like science and biology and beauty and art. There's something a little sci-fi about this one that I like with Venus and Aquarius too. So anyway, we'll look at that one later in the week, but the end of the week has that kind of Venusian sparkly, it's like a, you know, like a sparkler on the 4th of July. There's something about the Venus Uranus transit that's very sparkly and bright. And so, and again, especially because Uranus is in Taurus, Venus's sign, I don't feel like this is going to be the world's most destructive Uranus experience. You know, Uranus can sometimes be a little bit like the Tower card in tarot. There's a sense of things potentially becoming destabilized. And I don't get so much of that feeling, especially with both being in fixed signs. And, Venus has done pretty well with Uranus over the years since Uranus has been in Taurus, in my observation and experience anyway. Well, we will look at all of these things as the week goes on. After I sign off here, I'm going to tell you about the rewards that are available when you support the channel. We have a variety of really nice rewards available when you support the Kickstarter campaign. So you can hear more about that next. We have a long way to go. We still need the support of well over 1,000 backers. So if you are able to support the channel, the link is in the comments section. It is in the description of the video. It's on the website, nightlightastrology.com. If you value these videos and it gives you something good, if it's a part of your week, if it's a part of your life, then please consider supporting myself, my team, and everything we do. All right. Much love. We'll see you again tomorrow. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. I'm going to tell you about the different rewards that we offer when you donate and support our channel in the year ahead. So you'll find a link to the Kickstarter in the description of this video, in the comments section of this video, as well as on our website, nightlightastrology.com. If you head over there, you'll see at the top of the page there is a menu item that says Kickstarter 2025. You can click on that and be taken over to the Kickstarter campaign page. So once you're there, if you scroll down on the right-hand side, you're going to see different pledge levels and different gifts and sales that we run as a way of saying thank you for your support. So among those, our most popular offering by far are the major discounts that we offer on our training programs. So if you are interested in studying astrology at Nightlight in 2025, whether you're a brand new student or a currently enrolled student who's thinking of taking one of our year 2, 3 horary programs, you're going to find that these are the best rates that we run on the entire year. And we do this as a way of both saying thank you and also of helping us raise funds to support the channel, our staff, and everything we do. So you'll see attend one Nightlight course there. That's about 50% off the total cost of the program and about $500 off the early bird rate. And then you'll scroll down and you'll see that if you bundle 2 courses together, the savings go way up. Bundle 3, they go up even more. I mean, the difference between the 2 and 3 class package is $200. So $200 more, you get 3 of our year-long programs. And if you get all the way to the 4 class pass, then you have all 4 years of our program. You can take them at any pace you like, renew them whenever you like. There's no timeline on when you use these class passes. And you will have all 4 years of content at about 75% off each of the programs individually when you get that bundle. So those are our best savings for sure. Highly recommend those. If you have any questions about our courses or programs, email us info@nightlightastrology.com or look at the website under the classes page, courses page. You'll find information about each of the individual courses we offer. And then if you scroll up, you're going to find some of our other programs that are greatly discounted. Ashley's Herbal Foundations apprenticeship course, which many people are interested in who come through our Moon Circle that Ashley and I lead each month. You scroll up, you're going to find our masterclass series for 2025, greatly discounted, as well as our Roots and Spheres Moon Circle, greatly discounted. There's hundreds of dollars of savings in each of those. So we really try to make sure that the Kickstarter acts as a good flash sale for all of our programs. You'll then find some really nice prices on previous archive talks, like our 2024 archive masterclass bundle, which is about 30 hours worth of content on specialized topics in astrology. You can see the topics listed in each of the bundles as you scroll through. 2023's masterclass bundle, huge savings on those and a lot of really great content. You'll see a few reading options as you continue to go from the bottom to the top. You'll see the 2025 year ahead mini reading. There's only 30 of these. These are individualized birth chart readings that I do, looking at the most significant transit in your birth chart for 2025. I record those personally. You'll then see that there is an Ask 3 Horary Questions option where you can get 3 horary questions to redeem whenever you'd like within the year ahead. Those are kind of yes, no predictive questions. Will I get the job? Will we get together? Things like that. Then you'll see the Astrology for Complete Beginners course is also discounted through the Kickstarter. This is a great 10 hours worth of content for people who are brand new to astrology. So whether that's you or maybe a gift for somebody else. And then you're going to see some individual master classes that are greatly discounted from the past year. So all of 2024's masterclass series are the archives of which 8 to 10 hours each are on sale. And then scroll up a little bit more and you'll see one of our most popular offerings, which are the year ahead horoscope readings. These year ahead horoscope readings include 30 to 45 minutes of a breakdown of all the major transits of the year ahead for each sun and rising signs. You get all of them with this package, which is a great deal. It's like 10 hours worth of content, 8, 9, 10 hours, somewhere in there. I haven't finished recording all of them yet. So as of the time I'm recording this, I'm anticipating it'll land around 10 hours. But yeah, anyway, so you scroll up, you'll see those horoscope videos will all be delivered to you right around January 1st when the Kickstarter ends. Scroll up a little bit more, you'll find The Oracle Speaks, which is my book, and this is being released chapter by chapter. It is a book about the inner experience of learning to speak with oracles, and it is being released chapter by chapter in both text and audiobook form, so you can listen along to my new book. And that takes us up to the Astrology of 2025 video. This, for your donation at the $50 level, gives you an exclusive talk breaking down all of the major astrological transits of 2025. I look in depth at some of the biggest things happening in the year ahead and break them down in advance. And that's the only place I release that video or that take on the whole year ahead. Finally, at the very top, the most basic level of donation, you'll see the Astrology of 2025 calendar. This is a PDF calendar we design and make that allows you to track and move along with the astrology as the year unfolds. This is also great if you want to track what we're going to be talking about week by week on my channel. You'll get a glimpse at the biggest transits of each day and month and week. And that will give you some sense of where we're heading with our coverage of the astrology on the channel as the year unfolds. So again, any questions about any of the rewards that you see, email us info@nightlightastrology. Link is in the description, comments, or on the website, nightlightastrology.com. Help us get to 1,937 backers by January 1st. We deeply appreciate your contribution. We try to make sure we have some really special rewards to say thank you when you contribute. All right, take it easy. Bye.